Hello, welcome in Warsaw, welcome on our conference, and please tell me what are the main problems in communication between Spanish government and Spanish citizens, and between government of Barcelona itself and about citizens of the city?
Well, I don't claim to know what are the main problems, but I have this story that I was in a workshop with government people learning about service design, and for learning they decided to do a project around transparency. Transparency is like a big issue in Spain in general and in Catalonia in particular right now, because we had just passed the transparency law, and they were trying to do some research with citizens about transparency, and we kicked them to the street and they went to interview citizens. And what they found out is that citizens don't see transparency as a government issue. They see it related to politicians. And instead, what they expect from government is access to service. So they don't care who is controlling this service. They just want to have access to the service they need. And for our service designers to be in government, this was like a big shock, because they just couldn't believe or understand the different the misunderstanding between, one, for them transparency being like a big important goal, and for citizens transparency being minor, and instead access to services being more important.
There are millions of tourists in Barcelona every year. This is a huge industry. Do you have any special services or public solutions for tourists coming from other countries to Barcelona?
Well, of course we have lots of services for tourists, but public services for tourists are not so frequent, because it's a huge amount of the industry in the city, but public doesn't involve so much. And about public solutions, well, we have lots of public issues with tourism instead of solutions, and we're trying to craft them. But there is this very interesting case that I always put as an example, even for example for service designers that come from private sector and want to start to collaborate with government, and they don't understand the government logic, and mainly what they don't get is the revenue thing, is that why government services shouldn't have a business case behind. And for service designers that are very influenced by entrepreneurship and all that, all government services should have a business case behind. They should either be generating revenue or at least being self-sustainable. But this logic doesn't apply, in my opinion, because there are many public services that are totally an investment into the quality of life of citizens, and they should be like that, like for nature. And so I always tell them about the touristic bus. So the touristic bus is like a normal touristic bus that you can take in any city, like in London or everywhere. You just hop on the bus, take a tour around, hop off where you want, visit a museum or the Sagrada Familia, and then hop on again and go back. But this service in particular generates a lot of revenue each year, and it's owned by the public bus company. But what does the public bus company do with all this revenue? It doesn't share it with shareholders. It keeps it, and it uses, so the public bus service for the rest of the citizens gets a little cheaper each year.
Sounds great. Good luck, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you.